Welcome to Malcolm Noble Talks about crime fiction classics.
Hello there, I'm Malcolm Noble with my weekly selection of a crime fiction classic. This week I've chosen one for the purists, A Question of Proof by Nicholas Blake. It's a straightforward detective story set in an English prep school in the 1930s. It was published in 1935. By that time, Blake had already established himself as a first-class poet. His real name was Cecil Day Lewis, and years later he became the Poet Laureate. Murders in schools is a subgenre in itself, and a very good collecting field for anybody who wants to put together a specialist bookshelf. But it takes a skillful writer, like Blake, to present this closed society in a realistic way without making its conventions, coincidences, rituals and very odd relationships just seem phony. Blake called A Question of Proof a novel of detection. He set out to show that you could write a good detective story within the boundaries of the 1930s conventions and produce a good book by writing it well. You didn't have to turn it into a psychological thriller, you didn't have to overplay the social comment or anything like that. You could stick within the rules, you could stick within the form and produce a good book by writing it well. I'm not saying that Blake was the first person to do this, but I am saying he was the first person to do it so well. This is a paperback edition from 1949, and I just love the cover. It shows the headmaster's wife on the edge of a sports field. Beside her, her husband has been stabbed in the back. But what is the woman applauding? Is it something she's seen on the sports field? Or is she applauding her husband's murder? Or is it some sort of self-congratulation about a scheme we know nothing about? This is the Donish school of detective writing. Blake, or Cecil Day Lewis, was part of Auden's group, the group as he called it, and Nigel Strangeways, the detective, is said to have been based on Auden himself. So we're going to stumble across Latin and French quotations without any crib. There'll be plenty of literary references and couplets from Shakespeare, but it's not approached in a snobbish way. It all adds to the fun, and we get a sense that Blake has really identified his audience and is enjoying what he's doing. He's enjoying his job of work. I think that A Question of Proof is Nicholas Blake's best detective novel, but I could just as easily have chosen The Beast Must Die, written a few years later, and many people would recommend The Smiler with the Knife, which is a thriller rather than a detective novel. But my choice this week is A Question of Proof by Nicholas Blake. Thanks for listening. Please do leave a comment if you wish, and join me next week for another selection. Bye.
About.me/Malcolm.Noble lists the other websites that I'm connected to.